The Worst Person in the World, new Norwegian film out in theaters, directed by Joachim Trier. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, Best International Film and Best Original Screenplay. Hailed by the critics as a fantastic film, marketed as an indie rom-com, it got me fairly excited. And I have to say, I was more than a little let down. Perhaps mainly because of the difference in tone between what was promised and what was delivered. I wouldn't call the movie a rom-com at all, that's the first thing. I think it's a drama that has some comedic elements and is perhaps light-hearted in the first half, but then rather somber and sad in the second one. In terms of the story, it's a couple of years in the life of a woman named Julie. She's slowly coming up on 30 years of age. She's kind of a wild spirit, changed her career choices multiple times already. She changes boyfriends, likes to do things on a whim, unplanned just because they feel right. She's definitely at the point in her life where she's still trying to figure herself out, find out who she wants to be, who she wants to be with, what to do with her life. So it's sort of a coming-of-age story moved to the late 20s, which is, honestly, it's personally an interesting topic to me because it's a theme I've also been playing with in my recent writing. But anyway, the central axis of the story are Julie's relationships. At the beginning of the film, she moves in with her new boyfriend, Axel. He's over 10 years older, comic book writer, has his own ideas. He would like kids, much like his other friends. He would like to start a family. Julie, not necessarily, so there's definitely some sort of disconnect there. But on the other hand, they seem to get along pretty well in other aspects. One day she leaves his party early, but instead of going home, she sneaks her way into a wedding of complete strangers. And there she meets another guy named Eivind. And the chemistry between the two is just off the charts. They spend the entire evening together, talking, having fun, sharing secrets. But they're both in relationships, so nothing sexual happens. They don't even exchange contact info in the end, just head their separate ways. However, one day, a couple of months later, they randomly bump into one another again. And who knows where this will lead. So, as I said, it's the kind of story which is really about the main character figuring herself out. As a result, there isn't a straightforward plot in here. It's rather a collection of scenes and sequences which are for various reasons meaningful to Julie. New beginnings, breakups with old boyfriends, various conversations about life philosophy and goals, etc. It's divided into 12 chapters plus a prologue and an epilogue. And I have to say, well, on paper, this looks exactly like something right up my alley. I like this kind of storytelling. I wasn't wowed by it in the end. I think the various chapters are very uneven. Some of them are kind of boring and slow and don't really lead anywhere. Others were more engaging. My favorite one is probably the sequence shown in the trailer with Julie running through the frozen in time Oslo. That's just a wonderful scene, and the whole context of it, how it works thematically, is just stunning. I also liked the breakup scene that followed, despite the fact that it was so hard to watch, because yeah, it was long and messy and difficult and unpleasant, but that's what made it real, that's how breakups are. I also think the performances by Renate Reinsve as Julie and especially Anders Danielsen Lee as Axel are very good, and some of the cinematography is quite beautiful indeed. However, I do think that the movie has some pacing issues, as I already mentioned, and I wasn't a big fan of the tone shift that happens towards the end. The second half of the film entirely it's quite depressing, honestly, and the ending especially so. And you can make a case that that's what life is as well, and you'll be right, sure, but to me it didn't quite fit the earlier parts of the film. It didn't speak to me personally. I also don't think that the character journey of Julie ends in a satisfying way. I don't know, maybe I expected a more direct breakthrough in her way of thinking, but I thought in the end she doesn't experience all that much change. She doesn't learn as much. At least that's how I personally read the film. So yeah, to me it's an okay movie, but don't go into it expecting a rom-com. It's a drama, some humor mixed in. It's well acted and well shot, but to me personally it's a little bit flawed overall.